No, they don't help that much though. You can't just be like, oh, I want to drift this part of the day and be like, it's not gonna work.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? Down coming to you from Osaka, Japan, Pinku style day. That clip you just seen was of me interviewing Alex Pfeiffer back in maybe 2002, 2003 at Formula Drift, New Jersey. Well, the first event back in that time frame, and we made the journey from Baltimore up to New Jersey to watch that. The questions I was asking Alex, as you guys can see, was pretty much how do you get into professional drifting? How do you get sponsors and stuff like that? And we talked a lot off the camera, but since I got into motorsports on a legit fashion back in maybe like 2007, started doing it and everything, and then got into competition. And then, like most people, I felt like I needed sponsors and all that stuff like that. So around that time, I did put out a lot of, I sent out a lot of packages, and I got accepted by a few and denied by a few. Number one question I have right here is, why are sponsors needed? In motorsports, you guys see NASCAR, F1, anything that has, is bringing in a lot of revenue, a lot of money, and they have names on it, stickers, or what have you. All of those names and stickers and companies and logos and stuff on the cars are companies that are invested into that team, invested into that driver. It helps to get you over that hump. If you don't have the assets or the cash to back yourself, you can use companies' help to get that. But you have to know that if a company's putting their money on the line, they're expecting some kind of return. So the first thing you got to ask yourself is, can I deliver, and can I help this company prosper? If not, you probably want to rethink your program and try to do something that's going to put yourself in a position where you can actually help the company out. And then if you help them get money, they'll help you pursue your goals further. Number two question was, how do I get sponsors? I tell guys all the time the best way to get sponsors is to go out there and drive. Myself and many other guys, again, we felt that we needed sponsors to get over the top, not knowing before we got sponsors, we were actually pushing ourselves and doing it for ourselves. The best thing I can tell you is go out there and drive, build your own profile up, and you'll get noticed. If you're winning consistently and you're doing it on your own, people will contact you. So that's, pretty much in a nutshell, that's how the best way to get sponsors. Now, you can put your picture package together, build a resume, get some wins and things like that, or get some podiums, and then you just present that to the company. And when you present to the company, you're not asking them to sponsor you. You're telling them why they should sponsor you and why they should go with you and how you can help their company. So they're not really looking. Really looking for somebody to be asking for handouts, because that's what a lot of young guys, especially today. I hate to get on you guys, but today a lot of guys do one figure eight and feel like they have the skill sets to have sponsors. So pretty much go out there and drive, and people will notice you. Number three, partial to full sponsorships. Unless your resume is crazy good, you got a lot of wins, championships, you should never really approach with a full sponsorship or full handout. Again, because you're going towards a company, asking that company for the money that they made off their hard work to just give it out to some guy that they don't really know. So when you first actually approach a company, what I recommend doing actually before you get into the partial, the full, is be a customer first. If you're a serious customer and they see that this guy is buying all these parts, thousands of dollars worth of parts, they know that this guy's committed to his craft, and they know that he's ready to take on he's committed to his craft, and he's ready to do what he has to do to get things done. So just be a customer first. And some of my sponsors that I have actually evolved into partial sponsorships based off of conversations we had, and they were asking what are you doing in Japan, blah blah blah, and things like that. So start partial, which is not partial is 55% or 50% or however much they want to give you off, and then full, of course, is going towards that sponsors paying for your entry fees, paying for whatever parts and things like that. And then moving on from that, if the sponsor is doing full stuff, the next question is a great segue, is in terms of the sponsorship. When you get a sponsorship, whether it be partial or full, if you don't sign the contract for that company, it's not a real sponsorship. It's more along the lines of, this company is using you as free advertisement. They're going to kick you some things or whatever, and then when they're done with you and they don't want to deal with you anymore, all conversations cease, and there's no legality things behind it. Now, on a on a legal part of it, the only thing that really gets legal is if, say the company gives you 2, 3, 4 grand worth of parts, turbos or whatever, and your obligation is to show up at like 6 events, and even if show up, have a sticker on your car, and do your best in the event to try to like win and everything, and then make it even better for that company. If you guys cut ties or whatever, and at the end of that contract, or if you break a contract or something like that, you're supposed to return those parts. If you don't return those parts and they have on paper that you guys legally were binded, and you don't return those parts, then they can pursue legal issues, sue you, and things like that. So don't get in that situation. And you should ask for a contract, even if it's a partial contract. Ask for a contract, something on paper stating that this is what they would do for you and this is what you would do for them. Just in case, it just protects both parties in case anybody wants to pursue legal matters. And then the last thing I want to kind of touch on, I kind of jumped around a lot, but it's so much to kind of get into with sponsors. This is just like from my personal experience and the question that you guys asked me. All right, so the last thing is sponsorships are great, but the best thing you can do is sponsor yourself. Myself personally, with my new company, Pinku Style, honestly, I've had good relationships with a lot of my sponsors. Some of the sponsors that I didn't have good relationships with, I didn't badmouth those guys. You see me, I don't use their products no more, or I don't promote them anymore. So pretty much you can kind of tell who I don't deal with and who I do deal with. But sponsoring yourself. Now I got my company, so my company I'm sponsoring myself. That's the biggest thing I'm going to promote. So that's going to be the biggest sticker on my car. And if anybody wants a bigger sticker, then they have to pay or put out more or do more to outshine my sticker. So I'm promoting myself. Sponsor yourself. What I mean by that is a lot of guys, whine about I can't get the parts for this, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. But they'll go out and buy, not knocking your lifestyle, but you'll go buy like expensive tennis, expensive clothes, expensive stuff that's not related to motorsports or what you want to do. You have to prioritize and put what's first to you. I mean, family and things like that. You got to make sure you take care of things like that if you have the family. So you got to make sure that everything's in line, and then once all that stuff's in line, you'll be able to actually pay for your own stuff. And honestly, it's better because you don't owe anybody anything. You're not obligated to anybody, and then it's gratifying to say, hey man, I put myself here. Not saying the sponsor thing is bad or anything, but when you're obligated to companies, and I mean seriously, like legally binded to companies, and that you have parts that you didn't pay for, there's a pressure to get to the next round and perform. And also you don't want to let down your sponsors, the guys who are taking money out of their pocket and trying to get more money back by helping you out. So there's more pressure involved with sponsors rather than doing it yourself. So if you don't want to deal with some of the drama, and most of the drama with sponsorships are because guys both parties are not straight with each other when they begin. They're not straight about what each other wants, and both guys are just generally happy that one guy is going to be driving with the car with the company's name on it, and one other guy is going to be getting parts or whatever at a discount or for free. So both guys are happy for the new relationship, but are not looking into what's going to happen. So that being said, all sponsorships and partnerships, partial or full, are not match made in heaven. They don't all work, but I will tell you, don't go around if the sponsor doesn't work out. They don't put out what you're wanting. Do not go around bad mouthing those guys, because those guys have friends, and then say this other company is looking at you, and then they talk to XYZ company about how did they deal, how were you, and then if you badmouth that company, they're going to tell this company. The next thing you know, this guy is don't want to deal with you. So just handle things civilly, and then break ties, and you guys go your separate different ways. But don't burn bridges when it comes to that, because the motorsports industry, the motorsports scene overall, when you're deep inside of it, whether it be drag racing, drifting, anything you do, once you're inside that discipline, it's a very small world. You'll notice you'll see the same faces over and over. So if you start burning bridges in that small community, everybody talks, and then you will kind of be like black sheep out, and you won't get any help from anybody. And as much as I do things on my own, and I'm pretty self-sufficient, there are times when you need other people to get things done, because everybody has different connections, and the more people you know, the better, and that's how the world works, unfortunately. So the more people you know, the more things you get done. So I rambled a little bit about that for the sponsor things. That was just from my personal experience over the last maybe like 6 years or whatever. And again, if you guys are looking towards sponsors, the biggest question to ask yourself personally is, what do I have to offer to this company, and what can I honestly do after I'm picked up, and can I honestly uphold all of the stuff that I said on the paper saying, I'm going to make events, I'm going to do this much, I want to reach this many people, and things like that. Because when it comes down to it, it is a business, and everybody wants to make money, and everybody wants to do well. So that's my take on it. If you guys have any other different questions, more questions regarding sponsors, things like that, be sure to get to me and message me on Facebook, Instagram. I have many different things in the bottom of the link that you can contact me via. And thank you guys for tuning in as always. Pinku just signing off from Sawa, Japan.